The film opens in France during the height of World War II. After a fierce battle, the Nazi army breaks through a section of Paris. A German soldier warns the locals that anyone hiding resistance fighters will face severe punishment. But before the witch hunt can begin, the general halts his men, ordering them to regroup because the enemy is closing in. The colonel argues that the French need to be taught a lesson, but just as he's about to pull the trigger, a woman steps out from the crowd and insists they know nothing about the resistance. This sparks a heated exchange between the general and the colonel, though it's short-lived as the enemy suddenly ambushes them. Actually, enemy might be too strong a word in the plural sense, because it's really just one man, a US soldier fighting like a one-man army during his retreat. The colonel calls him Ryder as he fires back, hinting that this isn't the first time they've faced each other at point-blank range, grenades in hand. Ryder infiltrates the Nazi camp, but a sudden gunshot takes him down. I didn't see that coming. It turns out the battle was part of an unusually vivid dream. When Ryder wakes, he realizes he doesn't recognize where he is. While exploring, he finds a bag containing a strange mix of items, a wallet with no ID, a pistol engraved with unique markings, and car keys that only raise more questions. He goes to the motel front desk, where the clerk tells him he's registered under the name Ryder, just as the colonel called him in his dream. Newly christened, Ryder steps outside to find a stunning motorcycle, apparently his own, complete with a mysterious past he can't recall. He begins to explore the unfamiliar city. Meanwhile, across town stands the headquarters of the Sanborn Group, run by the aging magnate Mr. Sanborn and his loyal assistant, Jack. Curiously, both men appeared in Ryder's dream, Sanborn as the general and Jack as the German soldier who interrogated the civilians. Enter Souch, whom we knew in the dream as the ruthless Colonel Souch. In this world, he's a famous architect showing interest in Sanborn's grand project to completely redesign the city. Though it's been Sanborn's lifelong ambition, he's recently started to question it, since the plan would devastate the poorer neighborhoods. Souch quickly quashes those doubts, reminding him that greatness requires sacrifice, and that his legacy can't be built without breaking a few pieces along the way. Back on the streets, Ryder crosses an intersection that suddenly triggers a flashback, a little girl being kidnapped by a criminal gang. Snapping out of the vision, he walks into a diner for breakfast and meets a waitress who seems eerily familiar, the same French woman from his dream. Her name is Morgan, and she works at her grandmother Shell's restaurant. Shell is kind and welcoming, treating Ryder like a friend, but the calm doesn't last. Jack and his men soon arrive to collect rent on behalf of Sanborn. Ryder quietly watches them, keeping a close eye on Jack, who decides to leave before things get ugly. Afterward, Ryder asks Shell if she's heard about any recent kidnappings in the city, but she seems clueless. Without another word, he hops on his motorcycle and rides off. His mind drifts again, this time not to wide, but ancient Rome. Now Sanborn appears as a Roman senator, manipulated by Souch to order the execution of Morgan and her daughter. Just as tragedy strikes, a gladiator, Ryder himself, rises to defend them. But before the fight can finish, he's jolted back to the present, confronted by Jack and his men demanding to know who he is. Ironically, Ryder was about to ask them the same thing before a brawl breaks out. Detective Timmons arrives just in time to break it up and send Jack's gang packing. Though Timmons remains skeptical of Ryder, Shell and Morgan vouch for him. They even offer him a place to stay, his new home for now. Morgan explains that Jack works for Sanborn, the same Sanborn who was recently featured in People magazine under the nickname The Man with a Vision. According to her, that so-called vision is nothing more than a money-making scheme. Sanborn squeezes the locals for cash at every opportunity, disguising greed as ambition. When Ryder sees Sanborn's photo, he's pulled into one of his strange, vivid memories, or perhaps hallucinations, and starts to question who this man really is. As he heads toward the Sanborn Group headquarters, his mind drifts again to ancient Rome, where he's locked in battle with a ring of gladiators, defending Morgan and her daughter. His bravery wins the crowd over, and the people demand mercy for the accused. The senator agrees, but Souch persuades him to send his best warrior into the arena to keep the spectacle alive. Ryder then faces off against Jack and his men in a fierce duel. Back in the present, Ryder spots Souch leaving the Sanborn building and realizes he's seen him before inside those haunting dreams. Later, at the restaurant, Ryder learns that Morgan is actually an ADA. Unfortunately, she hasn't been able to practice law because of financial troubles. Their talk is cut short when Morgan gets a message from Roger Hammond, one of the city's most powerful counselors. Curious, Ryder asks Shell who Hammond is. She explains that Morgan works on his legal team, helping him fight Sanborn's plans to reshape the city. When Shell returns to work, Ryder's attention is caught by a newspaper ad about a missing girl. The name triggers a flood of visions: a girl abducted near Anbor, and a group of accomplices scheming to manipulate someone whose record is spotless and beyond blackmail. How do you destroy a man who has everything? By taking away what he loves most, his daughter. That night, Ryder receives an unexpected call from Such. The architect somehow knows about Ryder's strange dreams. He doesn't explain how, only warns him that the game is just beginning. Suddenly, Ryder finds himself transported again, this time to 15th century England, inside a smoky tavern. Lord Sanborn, now a feudal lord, sits beside his advisor Such, demanding taxes from poor Morgan, who has already given him everything she owns. As tensions rise, a mysterious old woman appears, warning Sanborn that it's not too late to do the right thing. Conflicted between her words and Such's manipulations, Sanborn hesitates, trapped between greed and conscience. In the present day, Ryder visits Detective Timmons with the newspaper clipping about the missing girl. Timmons tells him the case is closed. The child had simply stayed overnight at a friend's house and forgotten to call her mother. But when Ryder glances at the detective's bulletin board, it's covered in photos and clippings about Sanborn. Timmons warns him that digging into Sanborn's affairs is dangerous business. He's been investigating the magnate himself, but quietly, and he doesn't need outsiders making noise. That night, while Ryder is working behind the restaurant bar, Such appears again. This time, he drops the architect facade and introduces himself as a motivational speaker. As he talks, Ryder's mind flashes through his memories, seeing Such as the Nazi colonel, the Roman advisor, the feudal counselor, always whispering poison into Sanborn's ear, the serpent behind every throne. Without another word, Such leaves, as if their conversation never happened. When Ryder picks up Such's business card, he's pulled back once more into his memory of medieval England, where he's fighting Jack and his henchmen to protect Morgan. Each battle feels more intense, more heroic than the last, until Shell's voice snaps him back to reality, reminding him he's been lost in thought the whole time. The next morning, Jack, acting under Such's orders, calls Ryder to offer him a job with the Sanborn group. When Sanborn finds out, he explodes with anger at Such's constant meddling. Such calmly tells him to turn on the news, where Roger Hammond is now publicly vowing to stop Sanborn's plans to destroy the city. Furious, the old tycoon takes out his rage on the scale model of his project, smashing it apart, then gives his associates the green light to do whatever it takes to make his vision a reality. Later, Ryder meets with Jack about the so-called job, which turns out to be nothing more than an order to intercept Hammond's car.
We will block off one side of the street, driving them here. Target's name is Annie Hammond.
Ryder reluctantly goes along with the plan, but on his way home, he's suddenly pulled back into the chaos of World War II, returning to the very first scene. In this vision, General Sanborn orders his troops to retreat. Colonel Such accuses him of being a coward, and in a fit of rage, the general orders fire on an innocent family, only to be overcome with guilt moments later. Caught between dream and reality, Ryder comes face to face with Such again. This time, Such tells him that sometimes evil must prevail so that good can continue to exist. He urges Ryder to stop fighting the inevitable and simply let things unfold as they must. Then, as suddenly as he appeared, Such vanishes, and Ryder finds himself back at the restaurant. This time, he's greeted not by Shell but by Morgan, who's covering her grandmother's poker night. The two share a rare, quiet moment together, until Detective Timmons interrupts. After running a background check, the detective tells Ryder there's no record of him anywhere. No ID, no file, no trace. "You're a ghost," he says bluntly, adding that he doesn't like ghosts. Unbothered, Ryder changes the subject and focuses back on Morgan. Later in private, Morgan notices the scars across Ryder's body. each one a silent reminder of battles fought in different lifetimes. Though she's happy when she's with him, she can't shake her curiosity about who he really is. The next day, Shell shows Ryder something he missed before, a hidden detail on Csokas' business card. When read backward, his name spells chaos. Meanwhile, Sanborn finds a mysterious letter on his desk, written in an old-fashioned hand. It reads, "It's never too late to do what's right." The same words spoken by the old woman in Ryder's dreams, who turns out to be Shell herself. The message echoes in Sanborn's mind as he finally realizes the magnitude of what he's done, or is about to do. Sanborn rushes to stop the plan. He orders Jack and the others to cancel it immediately. There's no way he'll allow an innocent child to be kidnapped. But no one listens. They never worked for him at all. They've been following chaos from the start. Soon after, young Annie leaves school under the protection of her father's security team. On the road, their van is ambushed by several cars that force them into an abandoned area, where Csokas and his men, including Ryder, are waiting. Sanborn arrives in a desperate attempt to prevent what's coming, but the inevitable happens anyway. Jack opens fire on Sanborn and his guards, ignoring the fallout. In the crossfire, Ryder fights back. Taking down Jack and saving Annie, though she's fatally wounded in the process. As Jack lies dying, he looks up at Ryder and remembers, they've done this before. From ancient Rome to World War II, their fates have always collided in an endless cycle of battle where only one can survive. And once again, the victor is Ryder. Next comes Csokas, or rather, the Lord of Chaos himself. Out of ammunition but not out of tricks, Csokas delivers one final twist of fate before the confrontation ends. When the dust settles, Ryder realizes he's been shot. He collapses, badly wounded. Moments later, Detective Timmons and Shell arrive with Morgan. Seeing her face, Ryder recalls that in every life he's ever lived, every time he's fought to protect her, it's cost him his own. And this time is no exception. As his vision fades, he sees the embodiment of chaos smiling, bidding him farewell. Yet fate has one last surprise. Ryder awakens, alive. At least he thinks he is, until he finds himself watching his own funeral from the distance. Officially, he no longer exists. He's truly become a ghost. Before continuing his eternal battle against chaos, Ryder takes one last look at Morgan. She turns, catches his gaze, and smiles softly, a silent goodbye that transcends time. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. Thank you for watching.